Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video we'll be doing the in-depth review for the Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus. I have been using the Galaxy S8 Plus now for almost 2.5 weeks. For the first 10 days I used it with my primary SIM, and currently I'm using it with the secondary SIM, that is Reliance Jio. And for the last 7 days I have been using the Galaxy S8 as my primary driver. So I'll be dividing this review between the pros and cons. What are the things I liked about this device and what are the things that I did not like about these devices. And yes, these devices are slightly different, but in terms of internal specifications, they have the same processor, same RAM and storage. The only big difference between the Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus is the screen size. Obviously, the S8 Plus is having a larger screen. It's having a 6.2 inch screen, and the regular S8 has a 5.8 inch screen. And don't be scared by just looking at the screen size 6.2 inches or 5.8. Actually, they are very comfortable to hold, because if you notice the phones, they are actually not that wide because of the different aspect ratio that Samsung is using. And before I divide this review between pros and cons, here are the specs for the Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus. So as you can see, this Galaxy S8 and the S8 Plus that is sold in India is powered by the Exynos variant, that is the 8895 octa-core processor, and it comes with the Mali GPU. Between the battery, the S8 Plus has a 3500 mAh battery, whereas the regular S8 has a 3000 mAh battery, and rest of the specs are here on the screen. So let's now break down this review between the pros and cons. What are the things I liked about these devices and what are the things that I did not like about these devices. Let's start with the pros. What are the good things about the S8 and the S8 Plus? And the first thing that I really liked, and it stands out on both the S8 and the S8 Plus, is the styling. You have to look at these devices. If you haven't in person, I would suggest go to a local store and have a look. These are best looking smartphones that I've ever seen. And yes, currently both the S8 and the S8 Plus have that curved design, and due to that they feel actually very good to hold. And in terms of looks and styling, I would say Samsung has done a knockout job. During my testing, many people have asked me, is this the new S8? And everyone actually praised about the looks of the device. So in terms of looks, I would give it 10 on 10, and as of now this is one of the most best looking smartphones that you can get. Now, next thing that I really like and stands out is, we know that Samsung is good with displays, and that's the same case even with this one. This S8 and the S8 Plus both come with the Super AMOLED display, and as you can see, it has that different aspect ratio. It's not very wide like the regular smartphones that come with 16:9 ratio. This is 18.5 by 9, hence it's a lot taller. And initially you feel it is a little bit weird, but trust me, after 2 days I got used to it and I really appreciate it. And Samsung calls this the infinity display, and I have to say the display quality on this one is top notch, one of the best displays that we have seen. And as it's having a Super AMOLED display, again the blacks are jet black, and another good thing is that even in direct sunlight this display was easily visible. So again, full marks to Samsung for the display panel that they have used on this S8 and the S8 Plus. Now, next thing I also liked, again this is about the display. Both the S8 and the S8 Plus have this always on display option, and during my testing I always use them with this one. And the good thing is that even though you have this always on display option, the battery does not drain that much. So I like the fact that we have this always on display on both the S8 and the S8 Plus. Now, moving to the user interface, Samsung has used a new kind of user interface, and they are no longer calling it the TouchWiz, but they are calling it the new Samsung Experience UI. And I have to say, this is the most polished version of the Samsung UI that I have seen. And you just flick to get to your apps, and you flick down to get to your app tray. And it's sort of minimalistic in nature, and for the most part it works very well. So again, I would say this is if you call it the TouchWiz, it's not TouchWiz, but it's the best iteration of TouchWiz that Samsung has used, and it does not feel, what do you say, bloaty or anything like that. So a very refined UI that they have put on this S8 Plus. Now, moving to the cellular call quality and the reception, I tested this with Airtel 4G and Reliance Jio here in Hyderabad. I even traveled to Delhi once, and I had no issues regarding the cellular call quality on this device. That is very good. The earpiece is also very nice on this. The calls were clear and loud. And moving to the speaker, though it has just a single speaker, not a stereo speaker, but the speaker output is actually very good. And I did take quite a few calls via speakerphone, and I had no issues regarding that. I also tested it with GPS, and the speaker volume was very loud and clear. So no issues regarding the speaker. But again, it's still a single speaker, not a stereo speaker like we get on the iPhone 7. Now moving to the battery life. Here again, the battery life difference is there because the S8 Plus has a bigger battery, 3500 milliamp hour, and the regular S8 has a 3000 milliamp hour battery. In terms of screen on time, I would say with both these devices, it's very similar usage. I was getting a screen on time difference between 1 hour to 1.25 hours between the S8 and the S8 Plus. Obviously, the S8 Plus was getting better battery life, and it could easily touch about 5.5 to 6 hours of screen on time with my typical to moderately heavy usage. But on the S8, in terms of screen on time, it was hovering between 4 hours to 4.5 hours. So it will last for a typical working day for most people. But again, specifically for the S8, if you are a very heavy user, you might have to top it up in the evenings. Now moving to the camera. The camera, again, this is a pro and a con both. The rear facing camera specs haven't changed a lot compared to the Galaxy S7. So if you are expecting huge improvements in the camera performance compared to the Galaxy S7 from the rear facing camera, that's not the case. But the Galaxy S7 also had a very good camera. So again, here are some of the quick samples that I've taken with the Galaxy S8. And as you can see, the camera performance was actually very good. But moving to the front facing camera, Samsung has really improved the front facing camera. Now it's an 8 megapixel shooter, and I have to say the selfies that you take with the front facing camera come out to be very good. So Samsung has really improved with the front facing camera, and among the flagships, I have to say the front facing camera is one of the best that I have seen. Now moving to the unlocking methods on this device, this is falling again between the pros and cons because the execution is not that great. If you notice, the fingerprint scanner is here on the back and it's very close to the camera. Yes, you have other unlocking methods. For example, the iris scanner provision is there, and also face unlock. I actually have set this one with the iris scanner, but mostly I'm using the fingerprint scanner. Don't get me wrong, the iris scanner works, but again, to make it work properly, you have to keep the phone in a particular angle like this. If you keep it too far or like this, it simply does not work. So in public places, when we want to quickly unlock the phone, using the iris scanner is sort of impractical. And that is the reason I've been mostly using it with the fingerprint scanner. And the fingerprint scanner has been really improved if you compare it with the Galaxy S7. The fingerprint scanner on the Galaxy S7 was a little bit flaky. Here the fingerprint scanner is a lot better, but again, the placement is not the best, I would say. On this regular S8, I'm able to easily reach the fingerprint scanner, as you can see with my finger, so I'm able to unlock it. But on this bigger one, the Galaxy S8 Plus, you simply cannot reach the fingerprint scanner easily, and you have to adjust your grip. So it was a little bit, you have to do a little bit of hand gymnastics if you want to reach to the fingerprint scanner on the Galaxy S8 Plus. Even after 10 days of usage with the Galaxy S8 Plus, I didn't get used to this fingerprint scanner. So the fingerprint scanner, you can reach it with the Galaxy S8, but on the S8 Plus, you have to adjust your grip every time you want to unlock. So yes, there is another method that is known as the face unlocking, and face unlocking is actually very quick. You just switch on the phone and it unlocks, but again, it is not very secure. If you have a photograph of that person and you just place it in front of the phone, it can be defeated. So if you are very security paranoid, using the face unlock is not a good option. You have to rely on iris scanner or the fingerprint scanner. So again, not the best implementation and the location for the fingerprint scanner on the Galaxy S8 Plus specifically. With the S8, you can sort of reach it like this, but on the S8 Plus, you have to definitely adjust your grip. And another thing that I've really liked about these devices is that though even the S8 on paper is having a 5.8-inch screen, and you might think it is uncomfortable to hold in a single hand, that's not the case. It's very comfortable to hold in a single hand. As you can see, you can easily grip the phone because the phone is simply not that wide. Even with the bigger one, in terms of holding the phone, it is way more comfortable than compared to many of the traditional phones that have a 5.7-inch screen. So in terms of in-hand feel and holding the phone, it is easy to hold even though it is having such a big screen. Another thing that I really liked about this device is that even with extended usage and heavy usage, using continuously over mobile data, browsing continuously and doing other stuff, and even with gaming, the phone did not exhibit any overheating issues. So that's again a big plus point for this S8 and the S8 Plus. And also now both the S8 and the S8 Plus are water resistant devices. So if it accidentally falls in water, you don't have to worry about the same. And I also like the fact that Bluetooth 5 is there on both the S8 and the S8 Plus. And yes, with the Bluetooth 5, you can pair two devices simultaneously. But even with devices that don't have Bluetooth 5 support, the pairing process was so fast on this S8 and the S8 Plus. One of the fastest pairings that I've seen with Bluetooth devices. So these were the good things about these devices. Now let's move to the cons and what are the things that I did not like with this device. So let's talk about them. And by the way, guys, the version that is sold in India is the Exynos variant that is officially sold in India. There is also another variant that comes with the Snapdragon 835 processor, but that's not sold in India, that's sold in US. Now, the first con that I did not like with this device is that, again, if you notice, this device is completely enclosed in glass. The back is also glass, the front is also glass. And I've noticed that if you look closely at this back glass, let me zoom in, you see these scratches, and this is with normal usage. I didn't abuse it, and already I got so many scratches on the back. So it is, you can easily get scratches with this device. So you have to be very careful with it, not to put any keys in your pocket when you're putting this phone. This was just with normal usage like I use other phones, and then also I got these scratches. And another thing is that these devices, as they have that glass back, is also sort of a fingerprint magnet. It's more evident on this black color, so you have to constantly keep wiping the same. Next thing is the Bixby functionality. Samsung talked a lot about this in their presentation, and in fact they also have a dedicated button here for Bixby. But as of now, I have to say the Bixby functionality is not that great, and in fact the Google Assistant and Google Now does a lot better than Bixby. It just shows you the cards when you invoke Bixby like this, as you can see some cards, and Google Now actually does a lot better job in terms of that. As of now, the voice functionality has not been enabled. And I also don't like the fact that Samsung has given a dedicated button here for Bixby, and as of now they're not allowing you officially to remap this button to anything else. So Bixby was a big thing, but as of now I would say it is sort of half-baked. Now moving to another thing, and this might be only applicable to the Exynos variant because it comes with the new Mali GPU. I did my gaming test just yesterday. Again, I'll have the link for that video in the YouTube show notes. And in terms of gaming with casual games and mid-level games, the S8 had no issues. It played those games fine. But with some of the very heavy games, I did notice considerable lag with the Galaxy S8, specifically with Asphalt 8 and even at times with the Modern Combat 5. And this might be due to the reason that this is an Exynos variant and it's using the new Mali GPU and it might not be optimized. The thing is that, guys, many of the games are actually high-end games are optimized for the Adreno GPU that comes with the Snapdragon processors. But this one, as it's having the Exynos, has that Mali GPU. So in my testing as of now, some of the games did exhibit some lag. So if you are a sort of a very heavy gamer, you have to note that thing. Another thing is that in terms of RAM management, this time I won't complain a lot. The RAM management has been done well. It's not like it was reloading the apps every time. But considering the price point of this device, it comes with 4 gigabytes of RAM. I would say Samsung should have put 6 gigabytes of RAM. It's not like the RAM management is bad or a deal breaker, but after sometimes I've noticed after 5th or 6th apps, the apps tend to reload. And that wouldn't have happened if Samsung would have put 6 gigabytes of RAM, considering the price point of this device. And lastly, coming to the price point, these are premium flagships from Samsung, and the pricing is also premium. The smaller one, the regular S8 that comes with 5.8-inch screen, is selling in India for 58,000, and the bigger one that is having a 6.2-inch screen is selling for 65,000. So certainly very pricey devices, but overall, as of now, I would say one of the best Android devices that you can get. Again, these are not perfect. There are some issues. For example, the back is scratch prone, but again, I have to say these are one of the best looking smartphones that I have seen till date, and the general performance is also actually very good. But again, I don't like the fact that the fingerprint scanner location is on a very weird position, specifically on the S8 Plus, and the back can also get scratches very easily. And I also don't like the fact that Samsung has provided this dedicated button for Bixby, but as of now, Bixby functionality is sort of half baked, and Samsung is not allowing you officially to change this key to any other functionality. So overall, I would say this is an excellent Android smartphone. If you're looking for a premium smartphone, certainly you can have a look at the Galaxy S8 or the S8 Plus. Personally, I would say I would go with the Galaxy S8 because, as I've mentioned, for me personally, this fingerprint scanner location is sort of very weird, and I have to always adjust the grip on the S8 Plus. Whereas on the S8, I can easily reach it. Yes, certainly these are not perfect. They have some flaws, as I mentioned in my cons, but overall, I would say one of the best looking Android smartphones that you can buy as of now. Again, I have already posted other videos on the S8 and the S8 Plus, so links for those videos will be there in the YouTube show notes. So I hope you found this video review helpful. If you found it helpful, I'll appreciate if you can click the like button, and if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video.